I want to cross live now to Honiara and Solomon Islands opposition MP Peter Kenny-Lorea joins me. Peter, thanks for your time. The Chinese Foreign Minister is in Honiara today meeting with your Prime Minister. I know that you're the chair of the Foreign Relations Committee as well in the Solomons Parliament. How do you feel about this growing closer relationship between your nation and China, Peter?
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Yes, in terms of my own feeling, in terms of what's happening with our relationship, I was one of those that was very concerned about the switching allegiance from Taiwan to China. And I think what we're experiencing now in terms of the attention that we're getting is one of the concerns that I had shared back then already, that we're not ready to deal with China. And so I think some of the examples that we're seeing today bears that out already. But the pace in which we're moving with this relationship is very concerning. And it's just not me, but it's even shared by the bureaucrats and those that are working behind the scenes in government, who are preparing and supposed to scrutinize agreements and MOUs that we're supposed to be signing with China. And they're also raising the same concerns that we are moving too fast. We need to study better what it is that we're signing.
So you don't believe that the security deal is needed for the Solomons?
Oh, particularly for the security deal, definitely. We don't need that for the Solomon Islands. As I like to say, Solomon Islands is 28,000 square kilometre of landmass. Honiara City itself is about 22 square kilometre of landmass. And Chinatown, which is getting a lot of attention, is even less than 1 square kilometre of mass, land. And to have a treaty focusing just on that doesn't make sense to me. That is why I believe that this treaty benefits more Beijing than it does Honiara.
Why do you think the Prime Minister, Sogavare, has gone down this path? What's driving him?
I think for me, I trace it all the way back to the last elections. I think there was some support and planning already done at that time for a switch of diplomatic allegiance to happen, moving from Taiwan after 36 years to a very ambitious China and Beijing. So I think planning was already afoot back then, and we are just starting to reap some of the consequences of that planning. And I think support was even perhaps rendered with promises of more support coming in terms of our elections. So I feel that there is interference in our elections, and it was for a purpose, and we're starting to see those coming to light now.
Local journalists have apparently been told that there will be restricted access at a media event with the Chinese Foreign Minister. Are you worried about the signs that this is sending your country in terms of any control here as to who can show up to a news conference, for example?
Extremely concerned and worried for us, Solomon Islands. We're a young democracy. 1978, we had our independence. And I, for one, believe in the values of democracy. That also includes transparency, accountability, and the role of the media in terms of bringing that out to the people and keeping us in check. But I think these developments are very concerning, and I think point towards the bigger point that I've been trying to make, that there is a deliberate shift away from the principles and values that we share, democratic values, towards one that is more authoritarian in terms of what it is our nation is getting ourselves into now. Even with the latest episode of the journalists, just asked to, given the opportunity to ask just one question in the press release, and that one question to be directed to our own Minister of Foreign Affairs, which they can ask here in Honiara anytime. So it's very concerning that the control is starting to also impact upon that important part of our society in any healthy democratic society, which is the media as well.
Our Foreign Minister Penny Wong is in Fiji today, and she's going to be meeting with Frank Bainimarama over the next 24 hours. We're told that there will be several trips, more than a dozen trips to the region over the next month or two. Do you think she'll be well received? And is there a chance that with a renewed diplomatic push that we might see that China deal reversed?
Yeah, I think any visit by our friends is very much welcome. Solomon Islands have had close ties with Australia. Australia is our biggest development partner by far here in Solomon Islands. Regardless of the governments, we've had cordial relations generally. It is with this current Prime Minister that we've had some patches of valley, perhaps in the peaks and valleys that we have. So I think there is a history personally with the current Prime Minister Sogavare and Australia that they have had in the past. And perhaps that has played currently is still haunting relations with Australia. But the people of Solomon Islands generally love Australia, and we look to engage more meaningfully. I think people-to-people connections are very important for us as well moving forward, including in areas that perhaps we may have not looked at closely. Education remains a big part of that, and even the churches, and that exchanges between us is what sets us apart, perhaps from these authoritarian kind of moves that are coming in as well. But we welcome Minister Penny Wong if she does decide to visit, and we will just ask that when she does visit, she also extends a courtesy call to the opposition side of government. We feel that we also have a voice that she may want to hear as well, so that we don't get shocks when things do happen, because we do hear things, and we can share information and just to have a common interest in what it is that we want to do.
Okay, so we will no doubt keep an eye on that and see. I'm sure she'll be there soon enough. Peter Kenny-Lorea, the Solomon Islands opposition MP, joining us live from Honiara. I appreciate your time.